Hey folks, it's Ray with Taste Radio. Right now I'm honored to be sitting down with Megan Klein, who is the founder and CEO of Little Saints. Megan, great to see you.
Great to see you, Ray. I'm so excited to be here. Finally, we're making it happen.
I know.
In person.
You're here at BevNET HQ in Newton, Massachusetts.
Yep.
You're here in full dress, so to speak.
Actually, this is half dress. This is like business on the bottom and mushrooms on the top. Like sometimes it's like full mushroom.
What Megan's talking about is that she has a mushroom headband on right now. If you're not watching the video, it's pretty impressive. It's a real reishi mushroom.
It's a huge reishi mushroom. It's about a 6-inch wide, just dried reishi mushroom that I glued on. I made this. I know that's very shocking. I glued onto a headpiece.
Why would it be shocking?
Yeah, it's really not. Have you seen my Instagram?
Yes, I encourage folks to go to the Little Saints Instagram account. Do you guys have like 55,000?
Yeah, about 55. It's at Little Saints Co. Yeah.
That's really impressive for a brand that's just
no
about
celebrities.
3 years old.
Yeah, 3 years old, no celebrities. I mean, listen, we do a lot of meta advertising.
Okay.
Like we're 85% D2C sales. And then also my CMO, Katie, and I love to just do weird, wacky, ridiculous content. We dress up as the characters, to show people what the ingredients feel like, not tell. And so if you've seen our Instagram, we do like ridiculous. We're like, I'll dress up like Damiana, Katie will dress up like Reishi, and we'll like show what they would do if they went to Lollapalooza or something like that.
Well, Mike, our CRMO, loves what you guys do, and is like encouraging other people, other founders. You should do what Little Saints is doing. Ask Megan what she's doing and do that. That's what he says. So just so you know.
Just have no filter in between what's in your head and what goes out on the internet.
Oh, I don't know if that's
that's my method.
Okay, that's your method.
Yeah,
okay.
That's my master
Not
class. Not
necessarily
for
your
everyone.
advice.
Kind of.
Okay.
I mean, that's what we do for our Instagram.
It is.
Yeah. Maybe that's not a good idea from the look on your face, but it's what we do.
I would say within reason, certain. I mean, you don't want to get in trouble.
I mean,
is that a yes or a no? Or
we kind of do.
Okay. How?
I mean, I think that what is really important for like all brands and us, like especially, is authenticity. And so like if I am starting to filter myself, like I feel like I can feel it and probably like our customers can feel it. So I feel better in myself if I'm totally unfiltered on things. And like, I think that authenticity shows through to our customers. Like we've got a really high returning customer rate. Like we've got pretty good engagement on our Instagram. And I would like to think that's because people kind of see us like really not giving that shit.
Sure.
And like hopefully kind of feeling like, oh, cool. Like I kind of want to do that too. And I want to try these drinks because like whatever these girls are drinking, I want to try it.
Jeez. Were you always someone who was without filter, or did it take you time to get used to that?
I mean, I used to be a lawyer, so I know it's really
wow.
With the headdress didn't.
Was not suspecting that. Yeah.
I was a lawyer for 10 years.
Okay.
Which is insane. But yeah, so I definitely have to have a filter during the day. Like at work, I never felt like I was myself. And then at night I would, go out and I lived in New York. I was like pretty wild. I drank a lot. And like, then like the filter would come off. But I was for so many years, for decades, I was living kind of a dual life where I would have like tons of filters and like be really buttoned up during the day. And then just like completely the opposite at night. And then slowly over the years, like those like day and night kind of morphed together. And now it's just the same all the time.
I think that's a great lead into the development of Little Saints, which is a mushroom-powered non-alcoholic cocktail, and you brought us some new product. This is the latest from Little Saints, their spiced old-fashioned sparkling cocktail. It's made with reishi and Damiana. Damiana for life. What is it? Well, I'm sorry, for love.
Yeah, for love.
What's Damiana? What's the function on?
Damiana is like a flower botanical, and it is like, you can't say this on a can, but people think of it as like an aphrodisiac, kind of like it gives you like some body feels. So reishi mushroom, what I'm wearing on my head, if I were to embody reishi mushroom, I'd be like a chill, cool girl, kind of nothing bothers me. I'm just like really relaxed and at ease, but not sleepy. And then the Damiana, if we go through our characters, Damiana is like all sexy and like inner body and like really kind of like amps it up a little bit.
Okay, yeah. Well, on the back of the can, it says that Damiana well, the product itself is formulated to arouse positive emotions and playful desires. So, okay, it's 11:30
Well,
a.m.
I'm drinking it right now, so watch out.
Yeah, well, okay, yeah. I'm gonna sip on this as well. As someone who loves old fashions, this is a fantastic product. Please forgive me for not drinking it with ice.
You don't want ice?
Well, yeah. So Kenny Sadowski, the beverage whisperer, encourages folks to drink things not cold. Because I think you're getting more of the flavor if you are just tasting it sort of at room temperature. So this is great. There's a little bit of a cola kind of essence to it as well. Is that intentional, or is it just sort of a kind of a deliciousness that I'm getting with this?
It's close. We're trying to get as close to the like cocktail flavors as you can, and without like bourbon in there, like that flavoring is kind of the closest to make it taste like, we want to, if here's the spectrum of like, this is sparkling water and this is an old fashioned, we want to be like much closer to old fashioned.
Gotcha. It's really good. Really, really good. Going back to your interest in mushrooms and non-alcoholic cocktails, it sounds like in your personal life, you wanted to step away from some of the going out in the late nights and so on and so forth. I mean, was it something that took some time for you to get interested in this space, or was it just, I'm done with the nightlife and I really want to find a way to sort of fill that void with something positive and healthier?
Actually, I wanted to keep nightlife there.
Okay.
I just wanted to drink something else. That was like my whole thing. Like I still go out all the time, and like I love going out dancing and staying out late. I just was realizing that like the alcohol part of it was like what was like making me feel like tired and burnt out all the time. So I was, I've been an entrepreneur in food and beverage for a little while. I founded the brand Field and Farmer, which had like salad dressings and dips and juices. And like before that, I ran a hydroponic basil farm. And
this is all after you were an attorney, or
this is all after so attorney first, and then I just felt like I was like, this is not right. And even at the end of being an attorney, I was an attorney for Earth Justice, so I was doing nonprofit environmental work, and I really like felt passionate about the work that they do. But just like in terms of like the impact that I was making, I'm not like that fun and like that great to be around when I'm fighting all the time. And I found that like I wasn't actually inspiring any of my friends and family to like love the environment more by being an Earth Justice attorney. I was kind of just getting angrier. And then COVID, January 2021, I was living alone in Detroit during the pandemic. Do not recommend. I didn't have any friends there. I mean, I love. If
there's another pandemic, definitely don't move to Detroit.
Do not do that. Well, I love Detroit. Like I completely love Detroit. It was just like I just moved there and I had no friends, so I was basically just like in this house by myself, and I had like gone from drinking alcoholic cocktails with friends and like, socially for a long time to doing like, Zoom happy hours, and like then also having like a Negroni or two. It wasn't like I was like drinking bottles of wine by myself, but I was having like a cocktail or two, probably more nights than not throughout the week, and with just no distractions and just me and myself in this house. I was like, oh God, like I really see that this is like, making me anxious. I kind of feel like I'm spending my morning meditation and yoga just getting back up to baseline. If I don't have 2 coffees, like I'm not really like totally there. And so I tried dry January for the first time. Well, no, I tried dry January a million times, like every year, and failed. And so this time I had like this big kitchen table, and I bought everything that was out there, and like lots of beautiful brands that are still there today. You're
talking about non-alc cocktails.
Non-alc cocktails that are still there today that I still drink, but like everything had sugar in it. Even if it was called white grape juice concentrate, I was like, okay, this has a bunch of grams of sugar in it. Nothing like had a smell. And like I'm really into essential oils and smells and terpenes, which are just aromatics, and like that's why we like alcohol. One of the reasons, with like wine, we like
for sure
we associate the smell of a good wine with like a positive experience we've had before, and so that's like a multi-sensory kind of like attractive thing about alcohol. And then so sugar, no smell, and then nothing had like a functional ingredient that like really resonated with me. Of course, there are brands that have functional ingredients in them, but I know I like, in my personal life, I like to like not stack too many adaptogens. Like if I have like a bunch of adaptogens all in one, I feel kind of crazy. Like I was like, okay, like I work with like really potent functional mushrooms in my coffee and just in supplements. And like, I know that when I have them alone, they're really effective. And so I was like, I want to do something with like mushrooms and scent and no sugar. And that's how Little Saints was born.
What was your first step to saying, okay, I have this idea. How do I create the first can of Little Saints?
Well, I work with a food scientist with her master's in adaptogens and a bartender to create the flavors.
How do you find those folks?
Luckily because I had been, we had formulation at our like Field and Farmer is the Fresh Factory, which is like the parent company, and it has a co-packer. It's mostly a co-packer. So like I already had worked with food scientists and I just understood the process. And so I didn't work with the food scientists that I knew, but I just kind of talked to my network and I was like, I need someone who really understands like mushrooms and adaptogens to help me with this. So, and then I went to them and I was like, listen, these are the parameters. It's got to be like super clean label. It's got to be sugar-free with only pure monk fruit juice concentrate. We actually used stevia in the beginning too and dropped that, but like I just kind of gave them the flavor profiles and like the parameters in terms of like clean label and ingredients, and we just went back and forth.
You originally included or used stevia?
We originally included stevia, and also we originally included CBD.
CBD, I wanted to ask about that because when I first encountered Little Saints, it was at Erewhon. I'm pretty sure it was 2021 or 2022.
We launched at Erewhon in November 2021.
Okay. It was December. It was when I BevNet Live in December 2021. And I remember seeing the can. I'm like, wow, this is so interesting. It's so differentiated. It's not like anything I've seen before. It had mushrooms, CBD. It was an on-alcohol cocktail. It seemed like the convergence of a lot of trends happening in one can. But to be completely honest with you, Megan, I think I told you this before. Yeah. I was like, this is totally an Erewhon product. And that's not a knock on brands that are in Erewhon, but it's like, okay, I'm going to see this here, but I may not see it a couple months from now. How are you able to get interest beyond that West LA crowd, which for sure embraces these kinds of concepts, loves products like Little Saints, but how are you able to get buy-in beyond those pockets in the United States that are known for a bit more eccentric consumption of food and beverage?
Well, first of all, I think like dropping CBD was a big part of it. I mean, 2022, I was still self-funding it. I mean, I think you know this, but I started the brand when I was 42. I thought I would get married and have kids. I had a big savings. Instead of like birthing children, I put it into the brand. And so I was like, I am all in invested. And at the time, like I was terrified because we actually launched with an alcohol distributor in California because like we were doing really well at Erewhon. So I was like, okay, this makes sense. Like we're going to get this out to a broader group of people with this alcohol distributor. And again, that had CBD in it. And even for California, like the brand didn't have big enough brand awareness. Like I'll totally take full responsibility for that. And then also like, we thought that like there was a lot of awareness of non-alc in 2022, but as you know, like it's grown so much. And so like, even in California, like there wasn't enough interest from grocery and retail and liquor stores to get Little Saints off the ground. So then in 2023, we still had CBD in the product, but I was like, okay, like we either like go out of business and I just lost all my savings, or we like completely pivot and become a D2C brand, because we knew that like when people tried the product, they for the most part liked it. We knew that like there was a lot of education to be had. I've done like hundreds and hundreds of in-person events, and what really resonates with people is like just a sugar-free non-alcoholic cocktail. Sometimes the mushrooms are confusing, but not that often. The CBD was very confusing. And so what we started to do was just meta ads. We were like, okay, we're going to like do like educative, informative, like Instagram ads so that people start to recognize the brand. They see like normal people drinking it and they like can understand what the use case is for it. Because I think people, like, as you said, like it seemed niche. It seemed like, how would I actually use this? Like, what is this thing? So we really just completely pivoted. And in 2023, like 95% of our sales were D2C. We were mostly just like an e-com brand. And then we dropped CBD from the cans in November of 2023. And that's when like Little Saints like became much more mainstream. I didn't realize how much CBD was like hindering our growth. Like we surveyed our customers, we talked to a lot of people, and what we started to see was that like CBD was more of a hindrance. Like for example, I was at a dinner party with this woman and she was like, I really love your drinks and I drink them all the time at home, but I'm afraid to bring them to my friends' houses for dinner because I think they're going to think they're drugs. because they had CBD in them. We know CBD is not a drug, but like it was just like this kind of association. And so we were like, okay, well, we don't want that. And the purpose of having the CBD in there in the first place was to kind of give that take the edge off feeling. And also in 2023, we found like the best mushroom supplier ever. They do, like, it was not the same mushroom ingredient supplier we had in the first place. They do 70% beta glucan reishi mushroom extract. And like the beta, I'll just geek out for a second. The beta glucan is a functional part of a mushroom. And like if you take regular ground up reishi mushroom, including all the fibers and the fruiting bodies and everything, if you dry that up and like you test the beta glucan content, it's going to be about a 0.1% potency. The reishi mushroom that we use in Little Saints is the beta glucan is actually extracted from the mushroom with ultrasound. And then they're using a 70% beta glucan extract for like the ingredient that they provide to us. So like our reishi mushroom extract in these cans is 70% beta glucan, which like, you know, is like about like 700 times more potent than it would be if we just like dried up the mushroom and put it in here.
Okay. So
sorry, that was a lot.
No,
like,
it's really, really interesting. And I think as a loyal consumer, that kind of information is great. It's really helpful. It's something that you can probably share with others. You know, they use this really special technique to get the most out of the mushroom. But as you mentioned earlier, you had said most people were interested in this idea of a sugar-free non-alc cocktail. So if the mushrooms are secondary, why are people, why spend as much time and money and focus and resources on that part of the product and the brand?
Oh, because just like, listen, everything that we put in there is like the most premium ingredient that we can possibly find. You know,
I'm saying
like
just mushrooms in general.
why?
You know, what does it do for the end consumer if the end consumer isn't necessarily looking for that type of functional ingredient? If they just want a great tasting sugar-free cocktail.
Well, listen, because I think that like functional NA is like the next iteration of this category. And I think that there's a lot of competition in NA, as you know, and like there will be like more sugar-free options out there. They probably won't taste as good, but you know, and like I think that for personally and like in terms of our customers, they want like an extra added benefit. You know, like a sugar-free non-alcoholic cocktail. At the end of the day, it's like a healthy like soda drink, but there's like not any like real benefit to it. And we wanted to like make sure that there was something functional in there. So it's like, oh, I'm actually, instead of drinking alcohol tonight or for this drink, like I'm putting something in my body that's actually really good for me.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think a secondary reason for drinking something or eating something is always a reason for people to pay a premium for sure as well. But getting to trial is really difficult. Everyone knows this. Liquid to lips is the phrase that I've been hearing for the past 14 years in this business. Especially difficult, I think, when you're primarily D2C. How are you getting people to try this product when most of your business is online?
Well, we do a lot of product donation. So in the beginning, I was like paying for event sponsorships and we were getting a lot of liquid to list through like paid stuff. And that really wasn't moving the needle. And so we've got a really good network of people that reach out to us events. So we like, you know, we donate to probably 40 or 50 events.
What kind of events are these?
You know, like really, like sometimes it'll just be like a charity event, like a party, and they'd want a non-alc option. And it's something that would be like aligned with our values. So it's something like pretty fun. Like we're not like sponsoring yoga events. Like we definitely want to be like known as like a nighttime beverage.
Yeah, I like the way that you're looking at this strategically, which is that Little Saints is a nighttime beverage. It's a fun beverage for evenings. It's not something where, oh, after a hot yoga session, I'm going to reach for a spiced old-fashioned cocktail. That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
No. Do you expect that Little Saints would be distributed in places where nightlife is most celebrated? Bars, restaurants, nightclubs, etc.
Yes, that is like definitely our goal. And that's what we're really pushing for in Miami to start. And then in 2025, we're going to roll out that program. It's been tough. Like we don't have national distribution. We're not with like a Southern or a Breakthrough or anything. Our only national distribution is Sprouts, our first retailer, which we love, and we're doing really well there, thankfully. But yeah, like the 2025 problem we're really trying to solve is just getting Little Saints cocktails like on the menu so that there is that choice there.
And you're doing this starting in Miami because you're based in Miami.
Yeah.
Currently.
Yeah. Yeah. And because we're based in Miami, we love Miami. And also there's like the non-alc menus in Miami are not as advanced as they are in other big cities like LA and New York.
But picking your spots has got to be so important too. You can't just say we want it everywhere in Miami.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. And
Yeah.
I will say, like, it's funny because you think of like the use case of like, you know, let's just call it like a high noon. You would have it we're in Miami. So like people drink these at the pool
Right.
all day long.
Yeah.
Like you have them, like many people just have them in their fridge so that they grab for one after work rather than like so it's like we've seen like alcohol with like nightlife and all that stuff, but it's really just the use case of like when you would have grabbed for like a glass of wine or like a day drink.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry if I'm coming across as challenging here, Megan. I'm asking just a few questions, but I think challenging you is probably what you're used to now, especially
I like it.
Given your recent appearance on Shark Tank, or your upcoming appearance. We're recording this about a week and a half before the show airs.
Yeah.
Congratulations on getting on the show, number one.
Thank you.
I know you can't reveal too much about what happens on the show.
Yes, and please remind me of that so I don't mess up. Yep.
Okay, don't worry. We can edit after the fact as needed. There's a big smile on your face. I don't know if that means anything, but I'll just leave it at that. You were interested in the show, just like a lot of entrepreneurs are interested in the show. You're hoping to get a deal, but I think probably the best part of it is it gives you a national ad in a lot of ways. What was your interest? I mean, I think it's the same interest as most people. Was your interest, similar? And, how are you preparing for that airing? Because you're going to get crushed once you get on the show or once that show airs.
I really wanted to, we're always talking about internally and like how can we make this like more accessible to people. I mean, obviously Little Saints has a high price point, relative to other this is like $5.49
for an 8-ounce can. Okay,
for an 8-ounce can,
that's fair.
$5 on the website. And then our bottle of St. Ember, which is our best-selling product, it's like a tequila mezcal alternative.
Remind me to talk to you about that as well.
Oh god, yeah. It's $50. So
okay,
like,
$50, yes.
They're not cheap. And what we've seen is like men are actually like the biggest purchaser of the St. Ember, which is great for us. Because you've seen Little Saints like, it's skewed feminine. And then we started seeing that like men were really buying the spirit especially. And that was super exciting to us because it's not like we ever weren't trying to, have men buy it, but it was like really fun to see them adopt it. So we've done a lot more of our advertising be male focused. We're doing like a little like branding like refreshed to have it skew a little bit less feminine because we really want this to be something that like is not like a niche non-alc thing. Like we've been seeing, maybe if it was 2 years ago, one friend out of 10 friends would have like known what non-alc is and had that in their fridge. And I think that's really increasing to like,
oh, for sure,
maybe like 3 or 4 or 5 people. And so we're always like doing things to like reach a broader, a broader section of people. And so obviously like Shark Tank helps us do that to really get like Little Saints, of course, but like non-alc like on the big screen. Like I think most people have now heard of it, but it's like, okay, great. If we can get out there and be like, this is not like in quotes, like sober movement. This is just like an alternative to alcohol. I think it's just drinking something better than alcohol whenever you want to make that swap. So you could do it like one drink a night's a Little Saints, like one night a week's a Little Saints, like maybe 1 week a month is a Little Saints, like whatever you want to do. I just really wanted to get that message out there that like non-alc is like not like necessarily replacing alcohol. Like I wanted to get that message like really out there nationally. Like if you drink Little Saints or any non-alcoholic beverage, it doesn't mean that you can't drink alcohol anymore. Mm-hmm. Like 90% of our customers still drink alcohol. It's like this is replacing sparkling water. It is replacing like just having to order like a sparkling water at Lime at a restaurant. It's replacing like being at home and grabbing a LaCroix instead of like a non-alcoholic Little Saints cocktail. So I really wanted to get that message out there that like Little Saints is like, and non-alc is like an additive to people's lives. It's like really fun and it doesn't mean boring.
Yeah, I think the mainstreaming of non-alcoholic cocktails and just non-alc beverages, non-alc analogs is grown dramatically over the past year. You go into a restaurant and the non-alcoholic options are very visible on menus now. In fact, in some cases, they're pretty big, the number of options. Non-alc beer, I think, is helping drive that movement forward as well. So it feels like you wouldn't have to explain the potential for this category as much as you may have a year ago. Just a brief preview. I mean, did the judges, I mean, was that part of your pitch, is that this isn't something that's niche anymore? This is a humongous opportunity and market. And, did the judges, I
can't say anything about the judges,
Okay.
but I will say, yes,
Okay.
that's always my pitch, that this is not
Okay.
niche. This is like $1 billion category that's growing at 100% year over year.
Okay.
And like, this is like going to be in everyone's fridges, like sometime soon. And like, I'm as I would talk to any investor or like really anyone, like this is like just at like the beginning. Like we are like really catching fire right now. And like now is the time as an investor to get in.
How much market research do you incorporate into those pitches? Or is this just based on what you're seeing in your own sales data?
Oh, no, it really, it's the same as like any investor pitch. So I'm incorporating, as you probably know this, like there's not like the best numbers on non-alc. They're kind of a little bit all over the place, but I always incorporate as much data as I can.
The person you were trying to reach, hopefully you reach them, the judge, that is the shark, as it were. Did you feel nervous, or did you feel confident getting on the show? Or when you actually presented?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I definitely went in and out of being super nervous. Like I was practicing my pitch with the team, I think 2 days before or something. And I was like, oh my God, this thing sucks. Like I can't get my like energy right. Like I definitely, of course, I was nervous. And then on the day of, I just kind of danced in the green room all day long and like drank St. Ember from the bottle and was like making myself laugh. And I was like in good energy when I went out there to pitch.
Were you wearing the mushroom?
I can't tell you.
Oh, right. Okay. You're good, Megan. So, okay. See, the producers are probably really happy that you're talking to me about this or not talking to me about this. St. Ember is a product that I recall us trying last year on the show on Taste Radio. And my co-hosts and I were really loving the liquid. We were really impressed with this idea of a non-alcoholic tequila mezcal alternative or analog, mezcal analog. There was a bit of controversy when it came out because you described it as mezcal. And some people took offense to that because mezcal has a history. It has a tradition.
All over the internet for a day.
Yes. Was that something that you were able to kind of overcome and apologize for? I mean, did you have to apologize for it or?
Yeah, listen, we fucked up. I mean, that was like the first time that I was like on a big level. I mean, you saw my face was all over the internet for a day.
It was, yes.
It was really all over the internet for a day. Like we like made a mistake, and we had a whole team behind it. And at the end of the day, like it's my fault. And so, there still are like a lot of non-alcoholic spirits called mezcal and called tequila. And like, we just did not slip under the radar like that. And like, we realized what a mistake we'd made when my face was all over the internet. And listen, we pivoted fast. We were like, we fucked up. We started putting surveys out for a new name. All we did was run through that first initial batch of bottles. And then we came out with the new name in, I think, like September 2023. So it was really only like a couple months afterwards. Listen, the thing is, our canned cocktails are named after the cocktail that inspired them. And I know that from like a consumer standpoint, it's really important for people to like kind of know how to swap it out. Like, so like our spicy margarita, someone can grab that can and be like, oh, cool. Like I understand the use case for this. And that was our intention when we called it Saint Mezcal. We fucked up. We changed the name and we, now we do a lot of education on like our Instagram and stuff, just showing people pouring it into cocktails, showing people pouring it into a margarita to really like show what the use case is. But like we spent a whole shit ton of money like changing the name and like, saying we were sorry and moving forward. And we also we're a 1% for the Planet partner. And so we donated 1% of the proceeds of St. Ember to Sacred. Do you know Sacred Agave? They do, they're a nonprofit that like supports indigenous communities in Mexico that grow agave.
Did people accept your apology or they were just like, okay, fine, they changed. Good for them.
I don't know, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a lot of attacks in the beginning, like no one said thank you in the end. I don't know. I hope so. Listen, all we can do, this is what I teach my team. Like all we can do is like not make the same mistake twice. And like we're entrepreneurs. And so like I'm pretty risk tolerant and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do like make things that I think like need to be out there. And like if I, make a mistake, I'm going to own up to it and move forward. That's all we could do.
Before we wrap up, I want to go back to meta ads for a second because this is a big part of your business strategy, has been for some time. Meta ads are really helpful for D2C, for online. Is it a sustainable marketing strategy, or is it sustainable as a big part of your marketing strategy as you move forward to wholesale?
Absolutely. Like I've actually been shocked at like what brand awareness we can achieve through meta ads. Like everyone's looking at their phone. And like I would like to think that our meta ads are doing well because they're pretty entertaining and they're educational, and we're really trying to educate people about how to drink Little Saints and like the category in general. We've seen, I can just use our Sprouts data. Like we, got in writing from the Sprouts buyer that we were like the number one selling non-alc brand in their Dry July innovation set. And, we don't have a celebrity. Like I think that all of our money goes into meta advertising. So I have to think that like people recognize the brand from that. And then that also translated to like them picking it off the shelf. And we also have gotten a lot of, wholesale customers who have seen our ads and thought like, oh, that's interesting. Like, can you send me a sample? I might want to like put this on our menu.
What makes for an entertaining meta ad?
Well, I do some of them, and I just do ridiculous things like squeezing a lion's mane mushroom into my mouth and, just doing like fun things like that.
I haven't seen that one.
It's totally ridiculous. But, just doing things that it's like my real story, which is like I was like drinking too much. Like I didn't want to give up my lifestyle. I didn't want to give all new friends. Like I now drink this and like I feel like I feel great and I have good energy and like this is a great alternative with no consequences. So like that kind of messaging works. Like we have, like I said, like, men are increasingly buying our St. Ember. So we have like men going on there in their kitchens, like showing how they drink it, which might be different than I drink it, and just like having like real people showing how they're incorporating this into their life has really helped with our brand awareness.
Anyone doing shots of St. Ember?
You got to come to our Shark Tank watch party. There might be a shark-shaped ice luge.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can take shots.
Is that happening in Miami?
Yeah, it's happening in Miami.
I think I'm going to be in London at the time.
Darn it.
I know.
Yeah, it's going to be completely insane. But yeah, no, but I would recommend not taking a shot. But like, I don't know, if you wanted like a quick little boost of lion's mane, do it. Do whatever you want. My brothers really like mixing Little Saints like into their alcoholic cocktails.
Yeah.
They think it gives them less of a hangover. That's great.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want to do.
I just think about guys in tequila or guys in mezcal, and the first thing that comes to mind is shots. So I hope that's not the way they're consuming it, but
it's not bad for you.
No.
Do whatever you want. We should have taken shots today, Ray.
Oh shoot. We should have.
We should have taken shots.
Next time.
Yeah. But I'm wearing a reishi on my head, so we're drinking the spiced old fashioned.
And you might actually knock it off if you
I can't lose
kick
the
back
crown.
a shot like that.
I can't lose the crown.
Yeah. Megan, this has been incredible. I could talk to you forever, but I know how busy you are, and you're in town doing a production run right now.
Yes, we love Right Coast. We love you. We're doing a new spirit, which I will not reveal what it is, but that is what I'm here to do, and it is a banger, and I cannot wait. I'm going to drink it all the time.
Well, Andrew's a good friend, so maybe I can send him a couple bucks, and he'll reveal what it is. No, I would never do that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again for coming out to our office. This has been so much fun. And thank you for creating such a great product, Little Saints. Fantastic. Cheers. Cheers.